friends and survivors. When we did our addition to this house, I had a little bit of extra roof shingles, and they don't make this anymore, this color autumn brown. And so it's been saved for 17 years. I think maybe this is even one of the bundles that I saved from 24 years ago. But I was thinking somewhere I've got some more that was left over from the addition. And sure enough, I went up to our wood storage yard where we keep our dry wood, our hardwood, finished hardwood. And on the edge of that area up there, kind of in the woods, over behind some stack of tires and old compressor tank and that sort of thing, I got, it's got to be back there. And I went and looked, and buried in the berries, sitting on a pallet, was 2 full, unopened, autumn brown composition shingles. The only problem is somewhere, at some time, a tree about 8 inches in diameter, where it broke off 50 feet up, came down and hit right here, butt first, pow, and it collapsed the pallet that was underneath it, because it was rotten, and it just sheared a third off of 2 bundles. But that's okay, I'm going to be piecing it anyway. The important part is the color, so there's more than enough there to repair the roof. And my wife's solution that she made for matching the new fascia is ready, so maybe we'll get that far today. Wouldn't even be trying it, but we have a little bit of a cloud cover for a little bit longer, and that's a good thing. It's been 100 degrees 5 days in a row. Just down the road, down on the valley floor, it's been 111, and the other valley on the south end has been 107 because it's closer to the coast. But we've been okay here, but I sure welcome the cloud cover. All right, I'll let you know how this works out. Well, that looks better. Laying down flat there. Pretty much the same color for being so many years different. Hasn't faded much. Not too much scrap. Oh. Well, I guess the next thing to do is, besides going and sit down on the couch, is do a test strip and see how the solution my wife has concocted is working. Lipton tea, 4-aught steel wool, vinegar. All right. We'll see if that looks any different. Well, so far it looks like it's just right. It's getting better. Looks like a winner. And what did you make this out of?
Vinegar and steel wool with 2 tea bags added for extra tannin and perhaps a little bit of yellow in the color.
So 4-aught steel wool, vinegar.
Did I use the really fine stuff? I used whichever one we had the most of.
4-aught. And it dissolved in the vinegar and water and tea bags.
But it didn't do it in 24 hours. It took more like a week.
So this pine in here, the reason why it's a lighter color than that is because this had a window. I took the window out, walled it in, and put new pine boards here, and then cut the window back in, and it's still got the newer pine boards, and the splash marks from the ground is kind of a gray. Nothing I can do about that till we put gutters on it, but we're trying to see if this solution will take the newer pine, sugar pine, and age it to match something more close to that. It may be too dark, but we're trying. This one dark board here it got that dark all by itself.
And this one here too.
So that's pretty similar, those
Yeah.
two. So we'll see how it looks
Well,
out.
it's supposed to turn it to the color that it would turn left to itself. If it was going to turn left to itself.
It's supposed to look like the natural aging process. Manufactured old. My wife knows how to do manufactured old.
And depending on how you mix it, this I let cook for a week and it got really dark. So it turns the wood a way darker color. But if you don't want it this dark, if you want more of a gray color, you can thin it out with more vinegar. I'm just playing with different pieces of wood because I want to see
what it does.
What it's going to do.
Well, even if it's too dark, that's better than
and
too
then
light.
yeah, this is wet too. This is wet. So pretty much that's your chemical reaction you're going to get, and it'll be close to this when it's dry. But wet being wet, wet is always darker than dry is.
So that doesn't cost a lot of money, folks, to make your own stain.
This was about $5.50.
Yep.
But I didn't use a whole bag of steel wool either. The steel wool was $3 a thing, and the vinegar was $2.30.
So it's a whole gallon of vinegar?
Yeah. This is a whole gallon of vinegar and about 4 pads of steel wool.
And 2 tea bags.
And 2 tea bags.
Lipton tea bags.
So I figure about $5.50 for the whole doodah there.
We're going to stop right there and see what happens to it. And see if it lightens up a little bit. On the pine, it really turns the pine dark. So she's got a way of using less vinegar that makes that a lighter color. So we're going to stop here and see how it works. On the fir, it's just turning it gray because we wanted to match the old.
Is this pine here on the end too?
Old
Where the
fascia.
pantry is?
Yeah, the problem is it's not ponderosa, and it's not sugar pine, it's ponderosa.
Sugar pine.
It's ponderosa, like the upper roof.
Okay.
When the red stops, you know it's ponderosa.
Can you see the black up there on the office?
Yep.
If you can mill some bats and we take some bats up there, I'll do that whole thing and we can make it look like it's been there since it was the first part of the house. We just built it last.
Well, this may be a way where we can make. I should have done it all on sugar pine, but the difference in the way they age is dramatic. And shoulda, woulda, coulda, 20/20 hindsight. So Carol's trying to come up with a way where we can make the ponderosa edition, which is from here over, and the office up there match this beautiful, rich sugar pine.
Well, I don't think we can match the sugar pine, but that's why I threw the tea bags in, because regular tea staining, like you do on fabric, will turn it a yellow tan color. And I didn't know if I could get any of the tea stain to come through, but the black is from the metal being dissolved, because if you want to dye something black, you take a bucket of strong tea and you put a horseshoe in it. And it will gradually eat the horseshoe, the mild steel, and then you will get this black dye that you can use on wood.
So it's done old school, folks. Starting to get a little more variation in it as it dries. And that was a good job. Okay. Voila. Okay, it's drying out a little bit. Looking a little more believable now. A little less like the house was damaged, and a little more like it just aged that way, which was the idea. Okay, thanks for checking out our old school way of staining wood. Have a blessed day.